The grammar of TOSUREBA has the meaning that in the case of assuming or if A then B. So in Japanese, you can use TOSUREBA with the verb, the noun, adjective, adjective. But when you use the verb, you should change the verb to be the causal form, you see here. And when you use the noun, you should, after the noun, you should follow by da, and after followed by TOSUREBA. And na is just the same as now. After adjective, you should follow by da and then followed by TOSUREBA. And for adjective, you don't need to change anything. You can use it that way. And as you see here, after the verb noun and na or adjective, you can use by TOSUREBA or TOSHITARA or TOSURUTO. It just has the same meaning, so you don't need to be confused. In Japanese, it has many ways to say in the same meaning in English. As you see here, TOSUREBA, TOSURUTO, TOSHITARA. It just has the same meaning that in the case of ... or assuming ... or A and then B, as you see here. So don't be confused when you learn Japanese. So the next we are going to see some example of how to use the grammar of TOSUREBA or TOSHITARA or TOSURUTO. For example, is say 選ぶとすれば僕はこれだな。選ぶとすれば僕はこれだな。Which means that if I were to choose, I would go to this. If I were to choose, I would go with this. Let's see the student example. They say 1日25時間だとしたら何をしますか ?1 日25時間だとしたら何をしますか Which means that if there were 25 hours in a day, what would you do? If there were 25 hours in a day, what would you do? Let's consider the first example in here. The first example in here, they use the verb 選ぶ with the grammar TOSUREBA, right? So when you use the verb can be the causal form. In this case, is in the dictionary form. So no problem for this one. 選ぶとすれば is mean that if I were to choose, right? 僕はこれだな。I will go with this or I will choose this one, something like this. And for the second sentence, they say 1日25時間だとしたら25時間 is mean 25 hours. And is the noun. So after the noun, you should follow by da. And after that, followed by toshitara, something like this. So it means that 1日25時間だとしたら which means that if one day have 25 hours, something like this. Is just suppose something like this. 何をしますか? What would you do? Or why are you going to do something like it? But actually, one day just have only 24 hours, right? But you just make it to be example only, so no problem. You can say 1日25時間だとしたら which means that suppose there were 25 hours in a day, something like this. So for the second sentence they use TOSUREBA, but this first sentence they use TOSUREBA, but the second sentence they use TOSHITARA. It just had the same meaning that if A and then B, or if something then something like this. The next example, they say もし車を買い替えるとすれば次はアメリカの車が欲しい。もし車を買い替えるとすれば次はアメリカの車が欲しい。Which means that if I were to buy a new car, I want to get an American car. If I were to buy a new car, I want to get an American car. In this sentence, you see that they used with the verb. In here, our verb is kaeru is in the dictionary form. So when the word in the dictionary form, you don't need to change anything, right? And after it, just followed by tosureba or toshitara or tosuruto. But in this case, they use in the case that use the grammar of tosureba. So that means if like I were to buy a new car, もし車を買い替えるとすれば which means that if I were to buy a new car, 次はアメリカの車が欲しい。I won't want to get an American car. Next example. 電車で行くとしたら時間はどのくらいかかりますか？電車で行くとしたら時間はどのくらいかかりますか？ Which means that assuming we go by train, about how much time it take. Assuming we go by train, about how much time will it take. In this sentence, we see that they also use the verb with the grammar toshitara. In this case, they use the verb iku. Iku is mean go, right? Go someplace. And after iku, they follow by toshitara, which means that assuming or if, right? 電車で行くとしたら which means that assuming we go by train or if we go by train. Just the same meaning. 時間はどのぐらいかかりますか？ How much the time you cost, right? How much is the time? So in this case, they use the verb in the dictionary form. Thank you very much for watching my video clip. And please help me subscribe my channel if you haven't. I hope to see you about learning Japanese in the next time. ありがとうございました。